right. So, I believe this is episode 75 of the Grindhouse Podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Cabrera, aka Steady Eddie. To the right of me is my co-host, Chris Martin, aka Critta.
What's up, y'all? Just real quick before we get into today's episode, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out. Share out the episode. Also, if you want to support us, you can always buy some merch at grindhouse.store. All right, let's get into it.
We have a very, very special guest on this podcast. Let me just give you a background on why this artist is one of my favorites, period. This person is a legendary member of the Tragic Allies. He's also released three, in my opinion, all three classic albums, Life Outside the Frames, 5 Seasons, and 777. 777, by the way, being like, we'll talk about it, because I really want to talk about that record. But we have somebody who is, I want to read just like what it says on your SoundCloud, because I feel like it summarizes the best. U.S.-born Haitian MC and creative artist Paranom is an alchemist and modern-day griot who juxtaposes lyricism, metaphor, and imagery with cultural and spiritual themes of the ancient future ages.
Love it.
Correct.
I feel like that perfectly encapsulates you as an artist, and we are very honored to have you on the podcast, Paranom.
Thank you. I feel very honored as well. Definitely being on a platform where you have been very observant and did the knowledge, you know what I mean, to my career, unbeknownst to myself, you know what I mean? So I give you a lot of respect just for what you're doing too, in proximity to, other people I know and everything.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I, like I said, just to give you a background of when I got put onto your music, I always been a fan of Lynn hip hop. We're working on something now, Critter Eye, as well as Justice Born of Rec Shop Movement, and a couple other artists, muralist Mark Agahawa, Jay Moon, who runs a record label in Lynn. We're big into hip hop music. I've been huge into Lynn hip hop music from way back. And Tragic Allies, in my opinion, when you talk about like Lynn hip hop legacy, it really gets no better than like that golden era of Tragic Allies to me. You know what I'm saying? That's when that's what made me proud and had always, like, listening to you guys is what got me started trying to find more Lynn music. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was you guys that before, I was always a hip hop head, but I always want to know, like, who can I see that I feel like is from where I'm from and talk about what the things that I've seen, and you guys were that. And so I got to give you guys, I'm happy to have you here because it's like on one level, one of our first guests on the podcast was actually SD Knack.
Right up.
He was I think he was episode 3.
Number 3, yeah.
J2, who's like a family to us, he was episode 1. But SD was like the first guest we had because he wasn't somebody who knew us per se. We didn't even have like a podcast. We were just starting out, and just off strength because he knew we were like just two Lynn guys who love the culture and wanted to just like highlight and talk about it. Just off strength, he's like, of course I'll come on and do a podcast.
Most definitely.
And his just just opening the door to us like that allowed us to be able to, one, just get the confidence to like reach out and really kind of like do what we want to do with this, but also like, just paving the road, I feel like, for other people that want to go down and do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody like that, who I grew up on and I respect immensely, opens a door like that, it makes me want to do it 10 times as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, I'm very happy to have you here because like you are just as important to me in terms of like my, like hip hop for me is like, people have their like the thing that kind of keeps them grounded. For me, hip hop is that. And especially your music is that level of like, it allows me to sort of, I don't know, grow into who I am. There's a certain level of like uniqueness, spirituality, like love in your music that I feel like I needed. You know what I'm saying? So to have you here with us is huge. So again, thank you so much. I want to kind of really start from the beginning and asking you, like, in terms of where you started with hip hop, can you just talk about your growing up, or, your childhood growing up? Like, what was that like? And how did hip hop find you?
It's interesting, man. I feel like hip hop has found me in so many different aspects or angles of my life, personally, and it's like existence in itself. You know what I mean? just as far as like being a creative being, and everyone having that piece within them if they tap into it through different mediums. But basically for me, I feel like in a lot of ways I was born like this, man. You know what I mean? I was born singing at a very, very, very young age. My folks used to tell me like I'm 2 years old singing Paula Abdul songs with Whitney Houston, you know what I mean? Some real fly shit like that. It was like, what the hell? You know? And the earliest that I remember being into music consciously, my mom actually had a youth choir in our church. I went to First Baptist Church in Lynn, 84 Essex Street, you know what I mean? And that's where I did a lot of my music publicly for the first time. I sang solo on a lot of the songs, you know. A lot of my friends did too. It was very interchangeable, and that was a crew that was very tight knit. You know what I mean? Tight knit within the church and outside of it as we got older too. You know what I mean? So that was one aspect of things. My family themselves are very musical. My uncle's actually an opera singer right now. Pierre Fontaine, really, really, really dope. So I just been around music a lot, you know what I mean? Haitian, first generation. So, you know, just when you come from the Caribbean, music is a very, very big part of your life, you know what I mean?
Oh, word. I want to talk more about that. How so? Can you explain that a little bit more?
I would say for me, it was one of those mediums that actually was a bridge for me, because I wasn't born in Haiti, you know what I mean? So for me to be around it, it helped to actually inform, like, you know, your DNA on the inside. It kind of wakes it up, you know what I mean? Like that part that you don't know until you interact with people who come from the same place. Like that was part of that for me. So besides the language, being from Lynn, where there's a lot of other Haitian people as well, and also being a part of the community where pretty much no matter where you go, like Haitians are always down for each other. You know what I mean? So that's something that music is like one thing that ties everything together, many cultures together. So yeah, that's something that really was like a foundated thing in me, and has been for a long time. As far as hip hop in itself, I feel like hip hop was that thing. Like my uncle, he was someone that really loved hip hop. When my family came to the U.S. from Haiti, he was 18. My mom was pregnant of me, and he was into hip hop. And he's not so much anymore, but I put it in the context of like I'm the first person in my family to really be into it. You know what I mean? So I was in a complete different place, and this cultural sensation took root within me, or like attached to something that was already within me. So I remember, like, I remember the first thing I saw was the first thing I remember seeing was like a Snoop Dogg video or something, Gin and Juice or something like that. And yeah, just me like being like, oh, you know, put a 94.5, da 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 da, you know, just like little kid stuff or whatever. Yeah, so I remember that. And my mom, she was someone that was a very fun person to be with, you know what I mean? Me and all my friends getting rides to Chuck E. Cheese's, you know, playing music, 106.7 too, you know what I mean? So that was like, thinking about that, it's like really, really, really dope, you know what I mean? So that was great. And I remember like being around, like, that was probably when I was like 5, 6 years old. When I got to around 8 or 9, I remember, I think it was like 98 or something. I was already listening to hip hop before then, but I remember 98, like when Cannabis came out, yo, and 88.9, I used to listen to that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
East Skills,
yeah,
like all that.
So that really like cracked my soul open, man. I remember hearing it, yo. Get Retarded. I played it on the radio. I think I was like 9 years old, and my head was like, oh. Yeah, my shit exploded, dog. Exploded, yo. And like from then, yo, him, Jay, DMX was my first favorite rapper for real, you know what I mean? And then Cannabis just added like the lyrical side to it and like the underground side to it. Yeah, so that was crazy. In addition to that, yeah, my mom, she got married when I was about like 7 years old. My father was around till I was like 3, you know what I mean? Then my mom got married when I was around 7. And my stepfather at that time, he had an older son that he came to the crib with. So he was someone that was much older than me and was already into hip hop, you know what I mean? So I got a lot of stuff by proxy from him. And he was rhyming, and that inspired me. I remember he went on to UMass and then came back to visit and would have tapes with him and his boy rapping. And I would like already start dabbling, copying lyrics I hear on the radio and all that, and like that pushed me like to actually do it. You know what I mean? So that's 100% how I started.
That's crazy.
Yo. Yeah,
That's
I was
dope.
like 9, yo. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yep.
So how were you able to like really, I mean, you know, you're an elite God level MC.
Thank you.
How do you reach that level?
Yo, every now and again I think about it. I really just think it was just the love of it, yo, and really just putting my all into it. You know what I mean? I wasn't always ill, you know? I always had the will to do it, definitely. I always had the digging to do it. Especially when I was like first really writing, like 15, 16, I would like definitely like spend time crafting stuff, you know what I mean? Even if no one really heard it like that, I would spend time crafting lyrics. And even if now I'd be like some of the stuff I'd be like, yo, that shit is like kind of ill, or like the train of thought is like, yo, that's ill. So I really feel like the love of it itself. I'm someone that's a thinker, and it's not just me myself, you know what I mean? It's like books I came across, people I came across, other people I've listened to in rap that dropped something and maybe, you know, inspired me to look it up. And then that would open up something in my mind, and like that would help inform me and help inform my pen and find different avenues and mazes and corners and all that stuff. Yeah.
During that time, when you first started out, were there other people around you rapping?
When I first started out, a little bit. My cousin, yeah, at church we used to like do like little raps and stuff like that to each other. In school too. But as far as like making songs and stuff, when I first started, like no one really, you know, long story short or whatever, besides like little ciphers and stuff and like just passing raps around, I actually lived in Alabama in high school. Yeah, we had some like a family drama for a little bit, and then had to make a transition, and we were down there. So that was actually what was that? A little bit after 9/11, around that time. So yeah, so by that time, people were kind of rapping more around me. But as far as like writing songs and presenting it in like school and stuff like that, like not that many people. I was probably like, there was like one other homie I knew that was like rhyming around here during that time. That was my age, you know, but it wasn't that many people. When I went down south, yeah, I like started making songs, started recording, because no one around me was really doing it, and I really wanted to start doing it. And my brother actually would send me different CDs and kind of like keep me hip to what was going on. So that inspired me a lot. Being on message boards and all that stuff. That was, you know, MySpace era started popping and things like that. So yeah, that's when I started just building that muscle of like grinding it out myself, or like improvising, you know what I mean? I wanted to record, no one around me was doing it, so I had to find a way to do it. So, you know, it's pretty much a similar thing that many kids were doing, you know, using the PC mic with the stock and pop filter and all that stuff, finding out how to mix and all that. So a whole bunch of roundabout ways, but that helped kind of solidify that foundation within myself, and I'm kind of willing to go through many obstacles to have my vision come to life, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I would say that I was selling CDs in school. Then, you know, whatever vacation I would have, I would come back up here, you know what I mean, show my peoples, and then, you know, it's more people I see that's doing their thing. Also, message boards is like a big way for people to connect as well. So I definitely had a community through that also, yeah.
When do you feel like things really kind of became like not to say legit, but like serious, like this is something that like is something that I'm gifted with, like I've crossed that line between just like an average rapper or whatever, or just a rapper, to something I feel like I'm really giving something to this world that's worth holding on to?
I feel like that's still evolving, yo. You know what I mean? As far as the part of giving something to the world that's worth holding on to, you know? Because sometimes it may be a certain way in your mind, and the world's not receiving it that way. You know, it's not really blanket a lot of the time. Some people may fuck with it, some people may not fuck with it. Some people may get it, some people may not get it. You know, and that's actually something, as an aside, that's actually something I thought, or I had a period thinking about, is like my message and how it's getting across to people, and how they're connecting with it. You know what I mean? People say it's transcendental or whatever, but as far as like the words, like people say, you want mad fast, da 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 da. You know, not in a negative way, but sometimes I would like people to understand more of what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And the onus is also on me to be able to convey that in a way that it's easy and easy to be received. You know what I mean? So there's a balance within that. There's timing as well. Like, what does the world need? You know, what do I need? What does my family need? Different things like that. So all these things kind of was like swirling around, not in a bad way, but I'm someone that does want to offer something to the world, and sometimes it takes time for me to really think about what that is, you know? And at the same time, sometimes it can be something that's very simple. It's like I'm just giving to myself. You know, you either fuck with it or you don't. There's that too. You know what I mean? So yeah, I forgot.
Nah, you were saying some gems there, man.
That was great.
I'm definitely curious on, like, you know, sort of your progression as an artist, and sort of like, where does Tragic Allies, like, in the timeline, like, where does that start?
Word.
And how does it start?
Word. So that started around, I want to say, 11 years ago, something like that. 11, 12 years. Yeah, we have a history that kind of goes beyond rap. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like, even on like a spiritual level and just the nature of like the way we see the world, even that we're different individuals, just the ambiance or the cloud of the gray sky of which we view the world through, and connect different dots helps us to kind of like build a force that's like stronger than just us as individuals. You know what I mean? How that started, Justice actually introduced me to Purpose. I want to say it was like 2005. I was like making a whole bunch of songs, putting them on MySpace, and had like a pretty good following for that time. Just for being someone that was like, no people rapping around me at all like that. And Justice found me because my location was Lynn on that. So we started building back in 2005, and I just started building with people online and all that. And I graduated in 2006. So after that, I left by myself. I moved to Mattapan, lived with my sister at the time on Blue Hill. And then I met Justice at that time, and he was like, yo, I got some people I know, from Lynn too, you know what I mean? Some people I can hook you up with to record and all that. So I met a couple people. Remember, I met Pro Track. He's definitely one of the Lynn OGs, and Purpose. I remember I met Purpose, and I was like, this is the time I was like really like stretching my pen, kind of like what I was saying before, just like really working on my craft. I wasn't distracted by a whole bunch of stuff. I wasn't sipping like that or smoking weed like that. You know what I mean? I was like just trying to rap. Yeah, and a whole bunch of things that I had planned out to do kind of went awry. I got into Berkeley at that time, couldn't go because it was way too expensive to go. You know what I mean?
Same shit happened with Emerson.
I've been
really.
I went to Emerson for a total of 10 weeks, and then they pulled my financial aid, and that was it.
Really?
Fuck it.
Bullshit. No, exactly. Everything happens for a reason, yo. You know what I mean? Things that I thought fell through came full circle like tenfold. You know what I mean? It don't even matter no more. But yeah, anyways, I was in Mattapan for a little bit, met with Justice, linked up with Perp, and I had a whole bunch of songs to record. I was like, yo, I was just paying cash to record, just like a regular dude, you know what I mean? And I was like, yo, I have a whole bunch of these songs. I think I did like an 8-hour block, and I like recorded a whole mixtape, and that impressed Purpose at the time. Even if the songs weren't the greatest songs, just me doing that it was like, yo, that's like pretty impressive, you know what I mean? And I remember it may have been that time or a time before that. He gave me the Gray Skies mixtape, and that's classic, Lynn classic. You know what I mean? Underground classic period, hosted by Fourth Disciple. And yeah, that's one of the illest mixtapes I ever heard, yo, period. You know what I mean? Like, same thing as far as like Tragic Allies really got you into Lynn hip hop. It was the same for me. And I was like, yo, like, these cats are ill, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Just like the kind of shit I like listening to. And I remember ST did a verse about my cousin, Danny, on one of the songs on there. They went to high school together, you know what I mean? And he had passed away in '06. I don't remember what year that mixtape dropped, maybe like '07 possibly or whatever, but either way, yeah, and like that like touched me like very, very, very deeply, you know what I mean? So that was a connection that was there, and like not only through him, but some other homies, other homies in the Haitian community who have known me since I was like this, like no ST or like no other people that I know, you know what I mean? So and we've connected since then on many occasions, you know what I mean? So it's been something that has really been something special to me, you know what I mean? It's been something very special to me, being that I've had a thought of being an artist for so long, you know, and at the same time being someone that comes from a lot of culture, a lot of rich people, and that colliding in so many ways, you know what I mean? And growing as an individual, growing as a man, my own man, you know what I mean? Relative to these things, and also separate from these things in my own square as well. Like many things like that. Yeah, it's been an interesting ride, yo. Most definitely.
So I wanted to talk about your lyricism, which I think bar none is like just tops in general. Like when I put you against, I don't even want to say like any, whether it be Lynn artist, Massachusetts, national, like just tops in general. You are one of the better lyricists, you know, that I've come across. And I'm curious to know, like, I know you said earlier you're a thinker, you know, and I'm sure that is a lot of what like kind of travels. You were talking about that earlier, but I just want to dissect more about like the content that you choose to portray in your music and why you choose to go in those directions.
Word. Okay. Thank you for those compliments too, man. As far as my lyrical content, like I'm a swordsman, you know what I mean? I'm a swordsman. If I had to speak about who Paranom is, who Kervin is, it's like it's many layers. I'm a black man, so-called black man, Haitian, a deep, rich ancestry, you know, ancient, modern, all these things encapsulated in a whole bunch of different knowledges that we've influenced throughout time. You know what I mean? And that's a very minimum way of me putting that. And like I feel like within this matrix, there are a whole bunch of forces that keep us from knowing that. And nothing is off limits as it's being used as an attack against us and against us evolving, you know what I mean, to be who we're meant to be. So for me, like my stuff is soulful. Like I love to put love into it. I do put a lot of love into it, you know what I mean, because like love is infinite. That's a word that we encapsulate the energy of what that is, you know what I mean? But everything's in existence because of it. At the same time, I feel like it's a war that we're living in, and I use my music as a weapon, you know what I mean? Especially me having time to really ponder on that, you know? That's how I feel. That's how my heart really feels. So a lot of it, the content is about enlightenment and finding your own enlightenment.
How were you able to reach like just a certain level of enlightenment to be able to talk about it in the way that you do? Because I feel like it's helped me just figure out my own thought processes, like the way you put things together. and that's one of the things I love about your music is like you say yourself, it's timeless. It's like this is music for whatever, but I think you capture something that people can really kind of take something from, you know, as I said before. So like, how are you able to kind of reach a certain level of enlightenment to, you know, to be able to speak on it the way you do?
I would say by on a level, not really hindering myself from the inspiration of it. Whereas it's like, okay, different things I'm able to read that people have left behind have inspired me to be able to do the same in my format. And it's the same thing we've been doing. It just looks a whole different way, in a whole different location, in a whole different time. You know? And then it's like once you got the knowledge, now you got to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's pre-mathematics, you know what I'm saying? That's also why I said it's also evolving still, you know what I mean? Because I'm still going through the process of living, the process of evolving, the process of being still, you know what I mean? The process of being observant of others and being inspired by others too, and inspiring, you know what I mean? And whatever that entails, yo. You know what I'm saying? So
I like to call that. I agree with you 100%. I love to call that the phrase I like to use. I'm a student of the game.
Word.
You know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, I'm down with that.
Yeah, most definite.
You know, something I definitely want to tell you is you've definitely inspired Grindhouse just overall. Like we would not be doing what we do if it wasn't for like people like you, SD Knack. But you know, one thing I do want to talk about is 777. That record, it made me want to like do like a hip hop label. Obviously, we morphed more into like media.
Yeah.
I just want to know like what was like at that moment. What were you going through making that record?
Yo, it's crazy. I wasn't going through a really positive time during that time, yo. I really wasn't. Yeah, I really wasn't, yo. Afterward, it was cool, or while I was making it, it was good, but it wasn't the best time. I think that was the time when there was mad blizzards that year, and yeah, I had to walk a lot.
I remember you're right about that year because I had to go to work.
Yeah.
Like, take the bus, and that was a tough year to go to work and take the bus. But
Yeah.
keep going.
No, it's cool. Yeah. Yeah. As far as like doing things to get to where I need to get to, I don't want to use the word struggle, but it's been a process, yo. It's been a process. Yeah, more than I can like convey. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. So yeah, I felt kind of alone a lot of the time during that time. It is what it is though. I worked far from home, and it's like you choose the things that you do anyway. You know what I mean? So there's that aspect as well. But one thing that held me down though was like listening to music, was just like playing beats and stuff. So I'm trying to think during that time. A lot of it was like just like, yeah, walking in snow, yo. It all was just freezing, you know what I mean? For like hours and shit. Yeah. But I wanted to do something that was kind of surprising. Like I didn't promo it before. I really just dropped it out of nowhere. I didn't really tell anybody. Yeah. Sometimes I get in the space where like, yeah, it's like it's kind of like building a sword, yo. I guess you know what I mean?
Sharpening it.
Yeah, like I'm sure during that time I could explain it better, but me thinking about it now, like that's really kind of what it was, yo. It's like a catharsis. So.
What was the Al Divino connection there?
Yeah. Oh nah, he was just giving me beats. We had already talked about doing a project, so he was really the only one. I think he gave me a beat or two. And then I did something to it, and then I was like, we're just like, yo, let's just keep feeding me stuff. And then like I think by like the third one, then it was like, okay, you know what I mean? Just give you some stuff. Yeah.
I think that process worked out well.
Yeah, it worked out amazingly well. And that was like one of the projects that really like started this dust shit, yo. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was one of the first ones, yo. That's like that like out of nowhere, like ill loop loopy shit. You know what I
It's
mean?
like textured.
Yeah,
It's fucking great,
yeah. And like that was just the ill canvas for me, to really get a lot of my like spiritual thoughts out too, yo. You know what I mean? I remember after that one, I was like, damn, like I feel like I ain't got nothing else to say. But like I do, but as far as like the crux of what I want you to learn or what I'm sharing to learn, it's you can listen to that album right there.
That's what exactly I wanted to ask you about. Is that, would you consider that to be your magnum opus?
Not yet, yo.
There's more to come.
Oh, I can't wait for more,
Not even,
man. I'm looking forward.
Not even, dude. Not even.
Because that, for me, that record was like, I mean, you close it with Enticements of a Golden Sun.
Yeah, that song is fire.
Yeah.
See, now what's interesting about that song is actually dedicated to a real person when I wrote it. And that's, I forgot about that. That situation ended up being real fucked up at the time. Now it's just whatever, but at the time it got really fucked up. So yeah, that also contributed to not being the best time, dog. You know what I mean? But it was still cool.
That record is definitely one that I play just. I play it just periodically just because it's fire. It feels so good just listening to it.
Yeah.
Your voice, the way you I mean, man, the voice.
Thank you, man.
It is legit one of the best, in my opinion, hip hop songs of all time.
Yeah.
Thank you, dog.
And so I just wanted to, I wanted to find out more about it just because it's one of my favorite songs. And I was also by the way, just wanted to let y'all know, June 25th at the Lynn Museum Courtyard in Lynn, Paranom is performing.
Rock that one.
Oh my God.
I
was
still
gonna
like rocking
ask
that
you,
song.
Please.
That's one of the only old songs that I have
Yeah.
that I still like.
I wanted to ask, and of course, it's all up to you because I would never, whatever. But like, if you could close out with that song, because I want you to close up the show, and that song, I feel like just the messaging of that song, "Love is the answer," the way you ended it, man.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what we're trying to preach. Like, we're not about any sort of beef, hate, whatever. We're doing the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. We're trying to uplift everybody. Yeah. We're trying to do what we can because we're not musicians. We do media shit. So we're trying to figure out what we can do. Like you say, like, your pen is your sword. That's how that's your weapon. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what we do. This is our weapon. Like, this is how we try to build shit, counteract shit, build on positivity.
Yeah.
I feel like that record to close the show really kind of drives that point home.
Oh,
so,
def.
Word up. I got you. I'll do
Word, man. That's crazy. Yeah, well, and that's great to hear that, that 777, because I think I would understand if it is your magnum opus because it's an amazing record, but to hear that is not, is like, I'm looking forward.
I would say, like, if you want the old Paranom, the pinnacle, then yeah, 777. That's the condensed, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's short. Like, that's the condensed one right there. That's the one you probably want to go to. But yeah, man, like, nah, shit is different now, yo. Shit is different.
I actually just peeped on social media, that Purpose, shout out to Purpose, I think he posted sometime at the end of May that he had something he wanted to dump off.
Yeah.
And
he got, yeah.
So I want to ask about that, and I want to ask also about any sort of future possible tragic allies, something. I gotta ask. So
yeah.
The people want to know.
Yeah. So I haven't heard any new Purpose from Purpose himself in a little bit. The last time I did, it wasn't too long ago, and it was fire. You know what I mean? Some recorded stuff and stuff that he spit for me. It was pretty dope. You know what I mean? So yeah. And like some of the beats that we've been mulling around over for a potential album have been pretty dope. You know what I mean? Like, I think I thought about it to myself yesterday. I was like, yo, honestly, dog, like, yeah, like if we did an album, would be like, or something, it would be a watershed moment, Yeah.
I don't want to put any dates on it. Like
a watershed moment.
Is there an expectation at some point of a time wise, this year, next year, whatever? Like,
I don't know, yo. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I feel like I'll speak for myself.
Yeah, sure.
Being that my schedule has been kind of like, or I chose my schedule to really be more focused on like my personal life, and me just like building my foundation up and putting myself in position to be able to take full care of myself, you know what I mean, and also others in the future. So I'm going through different transitions now that help move the process along. at the same time, you know, taking different steps back to move different steps forward. You know what I mean? So I feel that for myself, once I get to a point where, you know, we all want to be able to make music and then like have peace of mind doing that fully. You know what I mean? So, like that's where I want to get to. You know what I mean? So when I'm able to do that fully and feel like, yo, I'm in that pocket, yo. You know what I mean? And I have a whole bunch of stuff that I need to dump off myself too. You know what I mean? Then you know, then it's a go time, dog. You know what I mean? Then we'll see. We'll see. It'll be a movie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You mentioned that well, you didn't say it on the podcast, but you said it when you got here that you went away to work on some music.
Yeah.
When do you think that's going to come out?
Yeah. Well, it was more a retreat to listen to production being made. You know what I mean? So I didn't record anything, but I wrote a few things. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. As far as new things coming out, I'm probably gonna bring something new to the event to perform, you know. And I want to drop something by the end of this year. Maybe 2 things by the end of this year as well.
Just know I'm desperately awaiting.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Been waiting
Me too, yo.
years.
Me too, yo. You know what I mean? Me too, definitely.
Could I ask about like because you said earlier like you release something when you feel like something has to be said or whatever, and I feel like the 77 was 2015 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So in that time, what have you been doing? You've been taking a step back, reassessing life. What have you been doing since that release?
Yeah. That's the last solo. I did release $1 Million Mink with Code 9 in 2018.
Yep.
So and also appeared on different Mini Mansion Dust projects and different collaborations and things like that. I've been really just focusing on my mental health, focusing on my family and myself actually with my family. That was a big thing. Like to not be so long-winded, I did start to feel like I lived like a double life a little bit, you know what I mean? And that I still didn't have the footing that I wanted to have. It may have been pressure that I put on myself mentally, but that's something I definitely strongly felt, you know? And I really wanted to kind of bow out for a little bit, to not really bow out from music in itself, but get to a point that I could focus on manifesting what I want to manifest, you know what I mean? And like not letting anything distract me, yo, you know? And yeah, you know, being able to have that boundary, and to get my home life straight, all that stuff too. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm someone that does like to craft my science project in my dungeon, you know, and I spent a lot of time not doing that, and it was very fruitful for me and very great. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind that at all. You know what I'm saying? But a very big part of me is able to make that diamond like really shine bright in that, you know. So you know, once you get to a point where you have to handle different responsibilities, if you want to do what you want to do, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? So that's really what I got to doing, and also in a way where I wanted to really put my energy more into balance too, not really being so attached to an image, you know, or like an image that I felt I created to keep up with, you know, and I wanted to connect with people beyond music, you know. Like one thing I really loved and felt passionate about doing was food, and that's something that put some positivity and some control in my life as well, you know what I mean? So I was like, this is something that I can put energy into and it's given back to me positive, like in a very, very positive manner. And like I don't have to think about the illest bar or like think about some shit or like look a certain way or like do some certain shit to be able to connect and be able to impact my community. You know what I mean? So once that seed was planted, like I was like just messing with that. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, messing with that and also observing that in others and being like, yo, like, yeah, like niggas is ill and stuff like that, but you ill at this. It doesn't mean you're ill at that, or it doesn't mean like you ill at everything in life. Like this person is ill, can be ill for this. You know what I mean? And and that being a way that we're able to connect and build in the future. You know what I mean? Like that. So I really wanted to connect to myself in that way, and I feel like it has whatever misunderstandings I felt that I may have had with people in relation to myself or in relation to how I think within music, and you know, fam not knowing where you come from, especially being first generation. Like now it's like completely different. You know what I mean? And like people believe in me very much so. You know, inspire me a lot. They tell me like, yo, like where's the album? Like, you know what I mean? What you doing? You know what I mean? Like people who I didn't think would ever do that, and like people have started doing that. So that's something that has been a beautiful thing too. And I feel like it kind of made me bask in it more. Like, all right, I'm just going to chill. You know what I mean? But either way though, yeah, as far as like the music tip, the train really hasn't stopped if you pay attention. I've been on anime. I've been on several anime placements. You know, me and my man Aztec, we're actually now we're the only rappers who, as far as hip hop music and anime history, we're the two rappers that have appeared on the most in all anime history, yo.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
That is
I did not know
absolutely
that.
amazing.
Yeah, he actually had an interview recently with Anime News Network, which is like a pretty big media company, whatever. And like they're pretty hip to what we're doing, yo. So like that in itself is amazing. I remember being like fucking 15, 16 watching Adult Swim, like dreaming that I would like end up doing and have my shit playing. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
And how did that come about? 'Cause that's dope.
Yeah. So I met my man Yuki through Aztec. He's someone who is now a Berkeley professor. That's how I was talking about that full circle thing. Now I'm friends with someone that works at Berkeley. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's someone that is pretty big in Japan, and he lives in Boston now. I don't know how long he's been here for, but he's been here for quite some time. But he's very, very well known in Japan. Plays a whole bunch of instruments, almost every instrument, damn near. I think he actually does probably. He toured. I think he toured with Erykah Badu and CeeLo, like playing keys for them back in the '90s, and he has different credentials like that on his resume. So he had been doing soundtracks for a while, and he's someone that kind of has his ear to what he likes. So he's very meticulous, as well as soulful, and very much tapped in with the rhythm of the music, and of different genres too. So let's say like someone is like, okay, you know, we need this or whatever, you know, for a certain show, certain scene, or a certain project, or his personal project. Like he has the ear to kind of hear different people, and whether they're popular or not, if their ear fits that instrument of what he wants, he's gonna hit them up. You know what I mean? So Aztec was, I think I was just with him, kicking it with him one day, and he had this ill spot, Cyber Sound, I think a private studio, Cyber Sound on Newberry Street. Like people walking up and down, never knew the studio there. This is like, I want to say 2014, 2015, and yeah, I remember just going up there and being like so amazed at what he was doing. Like he had almost every instrument there in this small area, an ill computer, and he was like typing like 200 miles an hour. My bad. Like it was like in all Japanese text, and I was like, yo, this is like an anime. I was like, yo. It was like one of the first times I seen someone, and I was like, yo, I want to do that, yo. And I was like, yo, I feel like mad inspired, yo. Like, yeah, he's doing like what I want to do. Just be like in my zone, yo. And like, here it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, we did a few collab projects. Aztec he was part of a group named Hybrid Thoughts, and different Lynn artists were a part of that as well for his particular projects. So we did a Hybrid Thoughts album that was distributed in Japan, and different things of that nature. Performed together, did Hemfest a couple times, other spots too, and it got to a point where he started hitting me up direct. You know what I mean? It's just for one-on-one stuff. You know what I mean? Hit up Aztec for one-on-one stuff. Like this ill anime on Netflix called Beastars. Mm-hmm. If you see that, that's like fire and mad popular. And Aztec is on that soundtrack, and that's a popular ass one on Netflix. So that's fire. And ones that I've done are like pretty popular in Japan too, or like were popular manga that were being adapted to anime for the first time. It's like, oh, like big fanfare for that. So that in itself has been something that has been a very big blessing for me, because that kind of did manifest from something that was really in my heart. You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with like the business side of things, or like which is nothing wrong about the business side of things, because I'm very much into that as well. But the entertainment side of things, in like a negative way, you know what I mean, or like the groupthink type of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I was able to still see some success with me even falling back from the public eye, yo. You know what I mean? So that also informed me as far as like the avenues that one can take, you know, through patience and being strategic, and also being open to hear different insights from different avenues, you know, especially if you can still be yourself and not code switch and things like that. You know, like you can be a gateway in itself for that. You know what I mean? So like that's my intention, yo.
That's beautiful.
Straight up.
I feel like that's fucking knowledge that we can really, you know, take from. That's beautiful.
Word.
I appreciate it. That's crazy. So just off of what you were just talking about, and you know, just keeping your mind, eye, and just like your opportunities open to different things and where that gets you. We got to talk about Sunday. So Sunday,
yeah. Hell yeah.
Sunday, Crit and I took a nice little trip to Alston. We went to Rhythm and Raps, which is right on Com Ave, right where the Beeline is. And god damn, the food was amazing. Holy shit.
Fire. Yeah, thank you, man.
So can you tell us your association with Rhythm and Raps and like, you know, what you do there?
Okay, so I work at Rhythm and Raps as an employee. I have been there for about a year and a half. As far as what I do there, I'm an influencer. I'm a menu tester. I am a menu flipper. I am a tech guy there. I am also like a liaison also. You know what I mean? I've had a lot of people come through there, me and a few other people. And we've definitely helped to kind of raise the community aspect of people taking the trip to come out.
Yeah.
And like,
And we definitely did.
Just eat and build, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I do there.
So I love meat. I don't consider myself a vegan, although I have done like a 30-day vegan challenge once.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I did that.
Damn.
All raw vegan 30
Really?
days. I did that. I did it. It was after seeing a documentary called Simply Raw, and I saw the effects of like what just eating raw veggies could do to the body even after 30 days. And a lot of people that in the documentary were like diabetics. And after 30 days, like they didn't even have to take their insulin or whatever like that because of the food they were putting in their body.
That's real.
You know? And so I'm not vegan currently, but I appreciate like just like plant-based diets, what they mean. Can you talk a little bit, because we were talking a little bit earlier about plant-based diets, and you're on a plant-based diet. Can you talk a little bit about why like that is good for people, but also like not like, I feel like when I think about plant-based food, I don't no offense, sometimes I don't think about the tastiest of food because I'm a meat guy. So
Right.
But Rhythm and Raps, when we went there, that was like it kind of turns your taste buds upside down, because you're not getting, you know, you're not eating meat, but the food, like the sandwich, like we had like a burger, we got the barbecue burger, we had the chicken sandwich, we got Jamaican beef patty, we got a empanada. Fire. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So okay, so just back to the question, plant-based diet, like can you tell us a little bit about it for people who aren't hip to that?
Okay, so now people have pretty much designated like the meanings of these different words. So like textbook vegan is you don't fuck with anything that has animals in it. You don't wear no leather shoes, no leather jacket. You got no leather couch, no leather seats in your car, and you don't eat meat, eggs, or dairy, or anything originated from animal, or honey either. Some people have honey as an exception, but hardcore vegans, like they don't eat honey either. You know what I mean? Anyway, then you have plant-based. Plant-based is more diet-based, and well, veganism is more about the animals, where you're more geared towards animal rights.
Word. It's like a lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Plant-based is more dietary and it's more about health and nutrition. And it also doesn't mean you eat 100% plants. It just means you're plant-based, which means like the majority of what you eat are plants, which I am.
Word.
Yeah. I've had different periods of which I've never been vegan as far as me not wearing or me not doing anything that has animals. I honestly think though, like I don't own anything that's leather, so I probably was vegan for a little bit. Is it? Is it?
Happens to be.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah. I'm in a period now. Like one of my guilty pleasures. I'm not guilty about it, man. Like sushi. I love sushi. You know what I mean? I eat like some cooked salmon sushi. Like I like that shit. You know what I mean? And like sometimes if I'm with my peoples or whatever, I may want to taste something and see what it tastes like. You know what I mean? Because then I may want to replicate it later in a plant-based way.
Oh, interesting.
And then I know what
Is
it
that the
tastes
process? Is that the process you guys come up with?
like. Sometimes
Because
I would say,
man, the food is fucking good.
Yeah.
Man. Oof.
I would say that each of us really bring our personal processes and experiences to the table. Like it's a place that we can bring all that to the table, and it's very much welcome. You know, we're growing in a way that we do have to be a little more systematic now and kind of designate times where we do that and like do our test kitchens and stuff like that. You know, which can be monetized in the future. That's another thing. But anyways, but yeah, it's something that allows us to bring more flavor. Like we brought a lot of flavor there. So people who are really not vegan at all or even not interested, we've had people bring other people, their family members. It's like, yo, this person's first time here, and like I want them to try this, and like their mind will be blown, man.
One of my favorite foods is Indian food because
Mine too.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
What I love about Indian food, I went to India actually last year, a little right before COVID. I went to India, and what I love about India and Indian food is that they have like veg and pure veg. And most people, they're just eating vegetarian food, but it never occurs to you that it's vegetarian food because the food's so good, you don't care. It's good food, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so Rhythm and Raps, when we went there, that was the exact thought in my head. I don't care. Like if I walked in and somebody handed me a sandwich and I ate it, it would be the most amazing sandwich ever. I wouldn't even know or care to know that it's plant-based, but it happens to be.
Right.
Which is also amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's actually dope because more people are saying that nowadays, and it actually surprises me a little bit where it's like, yo, I don't care if it's vegan or not. If it tastes good, I'm going to eat it. And I'm like, damn right, yo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, straight up. Straight up, man. And like, I'm also more plant-based because I don't want to personally have veganism or eating only plants as like a religion. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, like fuck this person or like, oh, I can't believe that you're, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? Like
preachy.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I believe there's a lot of merit in being so based on the way that I see how ownership of resources is power.
Yeah.
So if you're able to have access to land, which you do if you can put energy into it, like, and depending on who you connect with, if you have the power to grow something and be able to sustain yourself off that, have the knowledge of how to do that and sustain yourself off that and connect with people who have different knowledges around these ways of living, then you don't need to go to a supermarket. You don't need to do these things. Like you don't need to be under the thumb of different lobbies and different organizations and different advertisements and things like that. So to me, I really see it in a very militant way too, as well. So that's also why I do it, and it's something that is gonna be a long-term thing for me. Like I'm really just getting started. I really want to get more into the nutritional side of things, so it's not just an ideology or something that I have seen personal benefit from, and also detriment from as well, because of my ideology would be like, okay, I'm hungry, but I'm not making the time to eat more food to replace the things that I stopped eating. Yeah, you know what I mean. I've seen the detriment of that as well. So I really actually want to get more into like holistic nutrition as well, and to know exactly like the way to do it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that'd be very, very beneficial to myself, my family, and the community.
And the community, absolutely. I'll say this about myself, just my own personal, and Critter, he's known me for forever, so he can attest to this. Like, my biggest issue with myself has always been weight. I have never been able to control my weight because I feel like especially growing up, my childhood, like I grew up poor, much like everybody, in this community. Like, there's only so much like access you have to like good food, healthy food, and the means to like for somebody who has the time to like put these meals together to be able to receive healthy food.
When you got to make shit work, there's no time for that.
When you got a job or two jobs and you got the kids and you got all these things, like you're trying to put together food that's not gonna it's not gonna take time, but also like it feeds everybody. And I grew up in a home with like 6 other siblings, like just a single mom, and the food that we ate were the food that we can kind of like just the old Tupac lyric, like make $1 to 15 cents, and so it was a lot of carbs, it was a lot of like just a lot of unhealthy food that like my weight and my eating habits even in later in life has like the foundation of it was from my childhood eating what we ate, just growing up, and that's been something I it's been tough for me to shake. Because I still go back to that. It's almost like my base. And so, I think it's important to have people who are looking at food, making it digestible, meaning delicious, where you're not even caring whether it is veg or whatever. And also like health, and focusing on health. I think we need more people like that for the community because like it would have helped little me when I was like, 12 years old, instead of eating like a bologna sandwich because that's all we had in the fridge. Like what if that would have been like, some like really dope asparagus or whatever that's like was cooked right and it tastes delicious. Like we need more people like that. You know what I'm saying?
I wholeheartedly agree. And what's interesting when you think about it, you think about these narratives that are within society that are really untrue or just not examined enough in a critical way. Like, for instance, like, the foods based on how you were raised. 9 times out of 10, that's all of us. Then you hear something like, oh, diabetes or this runs in the family. Why does it run in the family? It's because of what we're introduced to and the choices that we make that we pass down to our children. For instance, if you want to change something, if you want to change, single mother households, you know what I mean? Like, men in their lives, have to be dedicated to do what they want to do. You know what I mean? A lot of the time, and this may be a blanket statement, but still, like a lot of the time, we disconnect from what we truly want to do and use different things as a void to fulfill that, or as a void to fulfill what we haven't been taught in our lives. You know what I mean? From another man, you know what I mean, to show us that path. So we have these different placeholders to fill that in. Could be women, could be drugs, could be entertainment, could be things that don't push us forward in life. You know what I mean? And we pass down these habits down to our children. There's a lot of gold that we extract from these things. You know what I mean? And we're able to have it give back to us in positive ways if we're conscious about it. But even if we're more conscious and want to change these things, we have to be conscious about it. So it's okay. If I don't want to continue the cycle, then I have to not do the things that continue the cycle. So it's not about, oh, this runs in the family or it's like genetic. Like, nah, man, it's based on choices, yo. And a lot of time it's just based on knowledge. If you know the different options you have, be able to make different choices. You know what I mean? So like that's just a simple way of putting it. It's definitely more difficult for different people in practice based on like where they are, and you know what I mean. But especially if you got 2 legs and two hands, man. If you had a parent that really grinded it out, they may have not known what they were doing, but they still grinded it out, and you were still fed and all that, yo. Like now you're holding the torch to do that. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about the shit. Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to do with like Saint's Kitchen? Is to educate and to show people like you can heal from proper diet, things like that.
Yeah, and in a big way, yeah. And I want to do it in a way where it's not corny at all. You know what I mean? Like let's say like international sensation traveling the world, man. I still want to do pop-ups where we're connecting with people, have different artists and different people showcase their music. We're chilling, doing the regular shit we do, smoking, sipping, whatever like that. But the food we have there is just healthier food. That's it. You know what I mean?
Word.
That's it.
Obviously, like in recent years, I feel like you're starting to see hip hop and food.
Yeah.
You have shows like Action Bronson, Fuck That's Delicious. What do you think the connection is between hip hop and food?
Flavor, kid. You know what I mean? You have to have a rhythm when you're cooking food. You know what I mean? You have to, like, okay. For instance, a lot of people say they don't measure. They don't measure their food. It's like, yo, I had the feeling, or my ancestors tell me. You know what I mean? Like, when you get to a point, so when you're doing business and have to scale that business or think about food costs, then yeah, you have to think about, or it's like, you're selling drugs or whatever, you have to think about the weight and think about the ingredients you're using and how much or how little. But sometimes, when you're in the studio cooking, like especially the current wave right now, like no one's thinking about rules. It's like, yo, I got the sauce. I'm gonna splash my sauce in this. You know what I mean? And that's it. So it's like it's very similar to which like you're just doing that creatively with food as well. You know what I mean?
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Well, I mean, I feel like we've covered many topics with you, from your music, to just your outlook on life and also food. So I want to end this podcast first by asking you if there's anything that you have up your sleeve. I know we have that show on June 25th that y'all should come to. It's a free show. Paranom is closing out the show. Absolute legend. It's for the Lynn Museum. They have we're celebrating BIPOC artists from Lynn, BIPOC hip hop artists, but also artists showcasing their artwork at the show as well. It should be a great day for hip hop in general. It should be a great day for artists, BIPOC artists, and Lynn in general. So come down. It's free. It's gonna be a good time. Paranom's performing. In terms of what you got going on, is there anything that you want to talk about, plug or whatever?
Just watch me. You know what I mean? Just watch me, yo. I got a lot of ideas and a lot of people plugged in. Like when the right time occurs, expect the unexpected.
Word.
I'll say that, man. When the right time occurs, expect the unexpected.
Word.
I thank y'all for inviting me on this platform. Together we can do great things. You know what I mean? I'll say that. Yeah, yo. You know what I mean? Keep loving your heart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when I come out, just listen, man. That's it. That's fucking it, man.
We'll absolutely be listening, and we definitely be listening on June 25th if you guys want to catch us there. Again, Paranom, thank you so much for for coming on the podcast and chilling with us and just giving your insight. Deeply appreciated. If you guys fuck with us, if you like what we do, make sure that you're sharing this out. Show some love to Paranom. Make sure you go back and listen to those absolutely amazing classic albums, 5 Seasons, 777, which is my absolute favorite, and Life Outside the Frame, of course. Share this podcast out. Appreciate it. I just want to let everybody know we will be taking a little bit of a break after this podcast to really focus on what we got. So we got something interesting going on. We have the Lynn Hip Hop Wall of Fame. Yeah. I'm not sure how much you know about that yet. I'm definitely, we could talk a lot about it afterwards. But
yeah, you briefed me lightly. Yeah, I think that's
So that project is a big one because what we want to do for that project is to literally, number one, give people the flowers in Lynn that deserved it, regardless of fame, regardless of money, regardless of whatever the fuck. Like there's people who really put a blueprint and just their foot in Lynn hip hop that needs to be appreciated. You being one of them. Tragic Allies, obviously.
Most definitely.
Justice Born, we were talking about him earlier. He's another one. And what pretty much what this project is creating that pretty much appreciation for those artists. I think in a way that the whole community can get behind, represent, and be able to see in front of them. So as opposed to just it being like oftentimes I feel like the way people give flowers is like there's an award show, whether it be a Grammy or whether it be like what Academy Award or whatever. I think what we want to do with this is it's first of all, just want to let you know that y'all are getting inducted. You will be on the mural, Tragic Allies. All of you guys will be on it because you guys have done so much for the culture of Lynn hip hop. It's without question you guys will be on there. But what we want to do is it's supposed to look a trophy that you put somewhere on the shelf, on your closet, in your toilet, wherever you want to put it. It's your portrait in the middle of the community for people to see that you contributed to this, to what we have here. You know what I'm saying?
That's really, that's a huge thing. Me just thinking about my own history, but even that being so minuscule because it's way bigger than that as well. You know what I mean? I feel like someone like ST Nack, inspired more than just hip hop. You know what I mean? Yeah, a lot of people think differently and are able to tap more into their own mind through how they've been inspired by him, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? And he puts himself out there to be that, which is dope. You know what I mean? And it's an example for us to do that in our own right.
Absolutely.
Most definite.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's bigger than hip hop. I used to say it to myself years ago, dog. It's deeper than this shit. You know what I mean? I see it like that. Most definite.
Word, man.
So thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just an honor to have you here. It's an honor to speak with you and just to get to know you more, the music, and really what inspired you. Because, all this stuff I really take in and really like use in my life wherever I see fit. So just appreciate you making the time to be here. So
Word. Thank you.
And for you guys at home, again, share this out, subscribe, comment, blah blah blah. We'll see you next time. But that might be a while because we are taking a little bit of time off. But until then, there's about 75 episodes of this shit that you guys can check out.
Plenty of content. Plenty of
Peace.
There's a lot. So I just want to say goodbye and thank you all for supporting us to this point. But yeah, peace.
Grindhouse.